Alright, the last statement we're going to look at is the while statement. And what the while statement is, it's the ability to control a method to do something over continuously. And we call that a loop. And loops are great because we can use loops to read in vast amounts of data into variables, and we can read that vast amount of data out of the variable, again using a loop. So here's examples of how we can use the while statement. You can see there we have while I is less than 10, and the next example is while j is greater than 1. And what those conditions allows us to do is it allows us to stay within the loop, and when that condition is true, we can jump out of the loop. So the first one, we have while I is less than 10. We can stay in a loop, and we have a little counter, and the counter will continue to increment, and when the counter is less than 10, it will allow us to stay in a loop. Once we're greater than 10, then we'll jump out. With the while j is greater than 1, that is different, meaning as long as the value is greater than 1, we stay in a loop. But if we want to exit, then we have to make the number less than 1, and that's where we use a down counter to allow us to exit out of the loop. So again, the variable must be set within the while statement, because if not, what's going to happen is it's just going to run continuously. So you'll see this data scrolling on your screen for forever. That's the reason why we have to have the variable I, because we have to find a way to terminate it, which brings us to this information. It's important that we use termination, because again, we don't want to stay in this what they call an infinite loop, and we will stay in that infinite loop as long as we don't terminate it with a variable that will allow us to keep track of the data. So to prevent that, the way we set it up, we have to again use the appropriate less than or greater than signs, and based on those conditions, it will allow us to prevent an infinite loop, meaning we can terminate the loop and we can move forward. So we're going to go ahead and play around with the while statement and really see how that comes together. Okay?